This is the Monroe County Board of Commissioners work session for March 13th, 2024. First item on our agenda is Mr. Myers, ordinance 2024-13, Taylor rezone.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Got a little bit of feedback. Hold on. All right. So this is REZ 23-7. It is the zoning map amendment from State Residential 1 to Light Industrial. It is the Taylor rezone. Go back to the screen here. It's located at 6610 West State Road 48. It's 9.08 acres, and it's in Van Buren Township, Section 3. It's unplatted, and the comprehensive plan has it designated as Makua Rural Transition. Let's see here, go to the summary. Overall, the petitioner is seeking to rezone the property from State Residential 1 to Light Industrial with the purpose of establishing a business or industrial center to incorporate both general contractor and heavy machinery sales on the petition site. Please see Exhibit 3 for the conceptual site plan provided by the petitioner. That's in your packet. Should the rezone be approved by the County Board of Commissioners, the petitioner intends to file a commercial site plan to be reviewed administratively by the Planning Department. All right. If denied, the property would remain zoned to State Residential 1, where the use of general contractor and heavy machinery sales is not permitted. So the petitioner and the property owner, petitioner is Dusty Taylor of Taycon Contracting, and the property owner is Brian Rental Incorporated. They came into the office and scheduled a meeting with myself to discuss the rezone process and the commercial site plan process for developing this site in November. And we put them on the path to this rezone application before you. So I'm going to keep scrolling here. I have the definitions for general contractor and heavy machine sales, as well as business or industrial center included here. Basically, the activity that will be going on the site, they are a general contractor, as well as they were wanting to sell and rent machinery attachments. So think those types of attachments that go on to medium and small contracting equipment, like backhoe things, dozer looking attachments, those sorts of things. So they're not necessarily selling full-sized machinery. At least that is what they articulated to me in these meetings and through the application and petition process. But in order to best fit that classification or business activity, the classification that fits that best is machinery sales. That's what I'm getting at. So to have both of those on one site constitutes a business or industrial center use, and that particular use would be permitted in the light industrial zoning district. So I also included information about the State Residential 1 district as well as light industrial here. And here's the location map, 6610 West State Road 48. This hatching that you see on the screen here, that is the airport noise sensitivity area. And that is just an area on the map that indicates areas where the airport director would prefer not to have new residential developments with respect to airport activities. So if you were to zoom out, you would see that these areas fall in line with the flight paths for approach and departure to the Monroe County Airport. All right, for the screens loading here. Okay, adjacent uses. Here's the zoning map. We have a mineral extraction to the north and northwest. We have RE 2.5 to the south, RE1 to the, that would be the west. agricultural rural reserve to the north and northeast. We have a small general business parcel there, catty corner to the property. And then, of course, we have the airport to the south and southeast. I'm going to zoom out just a smidge. Maybe that'll help us with loading here. Okay, site conditions. This is one of the big discussion points for the site. There are several sinkholes on the property. It's not in the DNR floodplain at all or in the eco area, the environmental constraints area. So there's nothing to worry about there. But the petitioner is well aware of the locations of the sinkholes. And actually a part of the condition of approval put forth by the Plan Commission under staff's recommendation was to submit a karst report before site plan approval. So that would get a review from planning staff and stormwater through the site plan process. We do have a comment from Kelsey Thatonia, MS4 coordinator here, articulating that the property is located within the Cave Creek critical watershed, and that they will need to comply with chapter 761 and critical watershed release rates when they get to the commercial site plan process. And that will require additional water quality treatment measures based on the use, and I imagine the amount of pervious cover that will be placed on the site as part of their use. So here on the screen, the site conditions map, you can kind of see some of those sinkhole features that I'm highlighting here with my mouse. Okay. Just some site pictures here. I'm going to scroll through these. It's very wooded at the time. There is an existing residence on the property. I believe that it is vacant. They will, I believe, likely remove that structure. I'd have to look back at their conceptual plans. At the formal session, the petitioner will be present and will be able to answer any questions related to the use of the site, as well as its current condition as well. I'm just trying to get to some of these exhibits here towards the end. Comprehensive plan, Makua Rural Transition, which states portions of the urbanizing area primarily to the east and south are not suitable for intensive development due to access, infrastructure, and environmental constraints. This section using the gray and green, gray for not very much in line with the proposed use and rezone, and the green being fairly in line with the proposed use and rezone to light industrial. So I'm just going to continue scrolling through here. Here's that comprehensive plan map. Makua Rural Transition is the district. Findings of facts, all through here, it's all in the packet. I'll provide a PowerPoint for the formal session. Okay. Here we have the letter to the Plan Commission and Board of Commissioners articulating their requests for the two uses of general contractor and heavy machinery sales, again, which would constitute as a business or industrial center on this property. And a little bit about the petitioner, Dusty Taylor, owner of Tacon Construction and Excavating. A little bit about him and his work in the county here, and then consent letter from the property owner. And then there's some versions of conceptual site plans towards the bottom here that I wanted to touch on. Okay, I think there's actually an updated one towards the very end. Bear with me while we continue to scroll through here. And so you can kind of see from the slope map here, again, where the locations of those sinkholes are. And they've broken it up into phase 1 and 2. of the use of the site, and some planned or proposed areas for construction. There's one plan at the end where they show a building on phase 1. If I can get to it. Okay, here's the use table for RE1, fairly limited uses for that district. And of course, light industrial uses, there's a lot more uses available in this district. So that is something to consider. And then, oh, okay. Looks like it got missed from being added. I'll make sure it's in the formal session packet. Basically, all it is it's a very similar version of the conceptual site plans that you saw on these screens, except they have a proposed building outlined in this general area on phase 1 for just a planning of a proposed location. So overall, the Plan Commission voted to forward this on with a positive recommendation. And that was voted 7-0. With that condition of approval, that the petitioner submit a CARS report for review by the MS4 coordinator prior to site plan approval. I will now take any questions.
Great. Thank you so much for the presentation. Comments, questions, Commissioner Githens?
Yeah, we recently had a rezone issue where there were karsts and sinkholes, well, sinkholes rather, involved. And I really would like to have assurances that we're not going to have disturbances in these areas. As Commissioner Jones noted the last time, we'd rather have people coming for approval rather than asking for forgiveness.
Commissioner Jones?
Yeah, who actually performs the karst study?
That's a good question. There's a number of consulting firms that I believe that could perform that. Potentially VET Environmental or some other karst professional that would be able to produce such a report.
Thank you.
All right. So we are not meeting next week, but I think our agenda on the 27th is rather full. So I wonder how what my colleagues think about moving this into April. So that would be April 3rd. Does that work for everyone?
Yeah, we're not outside the time limit for doing this, right?
Yeah, no, we're still good.
I won't be here for that meeting.
Um,
I don't know that matters.
okay, we could do it on the 10th.
It doesn't matter to me.
We'll be back. We typically don't hear from a petitioner at our work session. Thank you. So April 10th, does that work for you, Mr. Myers?
That works for me.
Perfect. Petitioner, April 10th? Yes. Great. Thank you. All right, good. All right, so we'll come back for April 10th on this one. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, next item, Mr. Smith. This is kind of a review. We're talking about where things go on this Whaley rezone 2024-04. Thank you for coming back with this. What do you have for us?
Yeah, let me see if I can share my screen here. Okay, how's that look on your end?
It's good. It could be a little bigger. If you could fill the screen with the paper, that'd be great.
Yes.
Right. Thank you. Great.
Okay, so this is just kind of a recap, but so at the last commissioners meeting on March 6th, 2024, the commissioners requested clarification from the MS4 coordinator regarding concerns about the boat and RV storage on site not being covered, as well as general concerns regarding storage areas in proximity to the existing sinkholes at this site. So I've included the MS4 coordinator's response in this packet, and this is Kelsey Thetonia. So this was her response, and I can just read it aloud here. And actually, we do have some follow-up information that I can include as well. But anyways, she is stating that any impervious surface, so that includes gravel, will require a treatment measure before discharging to a sinkhole. So it may be worth noting this on the outline plan so that they have some storage area um, taken up by a stormwater feature. So she did indicate that it would be nice to have a clearly delineated existing gravel area, particularly around sinkhole A, but I did want to include her follow-up email that she had initially missed that, and she clarified that she sees that they had delineated that existing gravel around sinkhole A, but she did include a comment about a 25-foot vegetative buffer, and she agrees that that would be a good idea. Kind of going through her responses here. So she would be supportive of that vegetative buffer, and speaking with KNS Roloff, the owner, Keith, he had indicated that he would be amendable to that. So that is something that we can certainly look for in the development plan stage. But Kelsey also went further in discussion, stating that for the area designated as vehicular storage, so this is in regards to boat and RV, they would require stormwater treatment measures such as retrofitting filters in the existing area drains, as well as modifying the existing bioretention or adding new bioretention. But she did not see anything in her current ordinance that would require a vehicle storage area to be covered. Do the commissioners have questions about anything that has been stated by Kelsey thus far?
All right, thank you so much. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
I think I need more time to take a closer look at this.
Commissioner Githens?
Is SCA a sinkhole? What is that? I don't know what an SCA.
Sinkhole
Yeah, so
Conservancy Area.
SCA,
Okay. Okay.
So we draw that circle.
yeah, so SCA
Right.
stands for Sinkhole Conservancy Area. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I can't tell from this whether or not it would or would not be converted into vegetation. I know she said she didn't want it to any disturbance, but
Yeah, so I can share. Sorry, I got some feedback on my end. I can share this email that she had followed up with us late last evening. So just reading this aloud, she couldn't make it today, but she wanted to provide like a written documentation of our conversation. So she had mentioned that she can evaluate any new development plan for detention or water quality requirements. But when she had taken this to Drainage Board last year, their main topic of discussion was how to mitigate the filling of the sinkholes. And that's when they had decided to fill gravel or allow the present fill of gravel and concrete, et cetera, to remain in order to minimize further impacts to those sinkholes. They had Bynum Fanyo do an analysis of the sinkhole capacity to ensure it wouldn't overtop during a large rain event. At the Drainage Board meeting, they didn't discuss detailed plans for the detention or water quality because KNS didn't at the time have definitive plans to present to them. But for the purposes of the proposed storage units that were being proposed at the time, they were going to ask that a bioretention area be included and reviewed with those detailed plans. They didn't talk about requiring bioretention for gravel areas added in recent years. And in this correspondence, she had discussed with engineer Bill Williams and said that Keith would be agreeable to creating that vegetative buffer between the roll-off storage areas and the sinkholes. And so that's just the correspondence that I've got from Kelsey.
So just to remind folks where we're at, we are here specifically to talk through condition number 6, to ratify condition number 6 of 2024-04. We've already pass the other portions of this ordinance and we have also denied 2024-04B, which relates specifically to allowing disturbance in sinkhole areas. So this is specifically about condition 6, quote, storage shall be limited to the areas shown in Exhibit A and shall be limited to the types of materials listed for each of the areas on the attached Exhibit B. So this is all we're doing, and we need to be sure that that's our focus, because the rest of this has already been mostly approved and denied just for those 2 sinkholes. So is there, and normally I appreciate that we have a petitioner here, but this is a work session and we don't typically hear from petitioners, but I appreciate that you're here because something may come up and we may ask a question. So thank you for being here anyway. So what other information do my colleagues feel that they need to proceed to ratifying condition number 6? That's okay.
I might also add, Sean, if you could show Exhibit 7 of the packet.
It is
On page 79.
Page 31 of the packet has the list of conditions. The full list.
Yes. Just want to
Yes.
clarify something
Okay.
for,
Thank you, Ms. Nestor Jelen.
I'm sorry, Jackie, what page number did you say?
on the, on my copy is page 79 of the packet to the commissioners, but yours, it would be, I'm not sure which page. I can share my screen, if that's okay.
Okay, yeah, I can stop sharing mine.
Is it the enforcement letter?
It is the enforcement letter.
Okay. That is
So I
on
just
page
want to give a
79
little
of
bit
the
of
packet.
background.
Okay, great.
So on this enforcement letter, it's showing the ordinance as it was originally approved. This dark black line where my cursor is was the original limits to any disturbance on this lot. There was an amendment made when there was disturbance proposed, and it created this red line of disturbance. Now what we have in front of you is even further disturbance that has been done after the fact. And if you zoom in on a sort of a higher quality resolution, you can see that this outline does show the existing gravel limits. It's kind of hard to see. So they're not permitted to add any further disturbance in any area west of this original line, except for what you specifically allow under site plan B. So I just want to make that clear, and we can have them add this line if it would be helpful, so that it's clear that there's been some questions back and forth, because I think we just want to make sure that they understand that the existing disturbance is all that can remain. That is the ceiling, and there may even be some changes because of the drainage review under the development plan to scale back some of this storage area to allow for things like vegetative buffers or possible bioretention when that review begins and they give us more in-depth information. So I just want to provide that context as well.
I think that's a wonderful idea, and if it can be added to item 6 of conditions, that would be helpful for us, because we've already done everything except we needed to ratify item 6. And is the petitioner, if you would mind, are you agreeable to that being added to a map as part of condition 6?
Yes.
Great, thank you. Awesome. These are the things you can get done. All right, good. Okay, so we can hear this on the 27th? if you all are able. Yes? Can this come back for March 27th with that? I love the idea of having that map in there and that line drawn. That was so useful. That would be great. Is that possible to bring this back? So it would go on a regular agenda for ratification of item 6 in 2024-04A. Okay, thank
Got
you.
it, yep.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Nestor-Jelen, too. You work together well, and it shows. Thank you. Great. Anything else
Thank you.
for our work session? All right. Thank you again. All right, we are adjourned. Everyone be well, and we'll be back here potentially on the 27th.